The next bit that follows from the quadratic formula is called the discriminant. Okay, so if we look at our quadratic formula, negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, the stuff underneath, okay, the stuff underneath our square root, okay, is what the discriminant is. So right here, this bit right there, the b squared minus 4ac. Okay, notice that is not the square root. Okay, it is the stuff underneath the square root. Okay, so our discriminant. Okay, what is discriminant? The discriminant right, the discriminant is this right here, b squared minus 4ac. Okay, that's your discriminant. Notice there's no square root. It's the number, the value underneath the square root in your quadratic formula. Okay. The discriminant determines the number and type. Okay, so we'll say the number. Let's put here a little addendum here. The number, we can have no solution, zero solution, one solution, or two solutions. Okay, so not that the values are 0, 1, 2, that the number of solutions you have 0, 1, or 2, and type, you can have either real or imaginary. Okay, so the discriminant determines the number, whether you have no solution, one solution, or two solutions. Okay, and the type, whether they're real or imaginary. Okay, and let's go over here. So if the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac, if the discriminant is greater than 0, so positive, then that's going to mean you have two real number solutions. Okay, so if the discriminant is positive, you have two real number solutions. If the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, is equal to 0, that means you're going to have one real number solution. And if your discriminant is less than 0, then you're going to have no real number solution. And that will mean that you have two imaginary solutions. Okay. So that's the discriminant in terms of how many solutions you'll have and what they are. Either you have two real, one real, or no real, and two imaginary. Now, if we look at the graph right next to those, okay, just go right over here. So what about the graphs? What does this mean graphically? Well, keep in mind, we're finding out, right, thinking about graphically, we're trying to think what x values, right, think about, I'm trying to find what x values when I replace in here will be equal to 0. I'm using my quadratic formula. Everything's on one side is equal to 0. So what x gives me a y value of 0? All right, and y values of 0 are on the x-axis. Okay, So in other words, if we have two real number solutions, it means we have two values for x that will be y values of 0, okay? So graphically, okay, I think I want to write this as well. Two real number solutions, that means you have two x-intercepts, okay? So when you have two real solutions, that is meaning that when I graph the quadratic, it's going to cross the x-axis in two different places, whether it opens up, whether it opens down, okay? Either or, it doesn't matter. You're going to have two x-intercepts. Now, when you have one real solution, right, that means you're only going to have one x-intercept. Okay, and the only way a quadratic can have one plate, right? If I draw a U that's going to cross the x-axis only one time, well, what's that imply? It implies that the vertex has to be on the x-axis. Again, whether it opens up or down, doesn't matter. Your vertex would have to be that point. And then lastly, in this case, no real number solutions means that you're going to have what? There's going to be no x-intercepts graphically. So in other words, if I graph and the graph opens up, it would have to be up here somewhere, okay? If I had a graph and it opens down, okay, my quadratic would have to be down there somewhere, okay? So there's the discriminant in terms of number of solutions, the type of solutions, x-intercepts, and the graph, okay? So let's go over here, do a couple quick examples of using the discriminant. So what we're going to do here is we're going to determine the discriminant and use it to state the number and type of solution. Okay, so the first one we'll do here, x squared minus 6x plus 10 equals 0. Keep in mind, I'm not solving it. I'm just finding the discriminant. So I need to know, in this case, the value for A, the value for B, the value for C. A is 1, B is -6, C is 10. Here's my discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. There is no square root over that. Then you just sub in this case, -6 squared, b squared, in parentheses, has to be in parentheses, otherwise it's not really written down correctly, minus 4 times a, 1 times c, 10. Do the arithmetic here. I have 36 minus 100, or 36 minus 40, okay, which is -4, okay? So this value right here, -4, that is your discriminant for this quadratic equation, okay? That's the discriminant. Now notice that that is less than 0. So if it's less than 0, what's that mean? It means there's no real number solution. There's no real solutions, okay? It means there are two imaginary solutions, okay? And that would mean that there's no real number x-intercepts, okay? That's it. Discriminant tells you the number and type of solution. Okay, let's do another one. Second one. X squared minus 6x plus 9. A, B, C. A is 1, B is -6, C in this case is 9. Here we go again. B squared. Here's the template for your discriminant. B squared minus 4 AC. There's the discriminant template. Plug in B, -6, 4A, C, 9. 36 minus, in this case, 4 times 1 times 9, minus 36, 0. So for this one, your discriminant is 0. When the discriminant is 0, what's that mean? Discriminant is 0. That means one real number solution. Okay, so there's going to be one x value that makes that equation true, right? So we look at equal to 0. One real number solution. Okay, it means graphically there's going to be one x-intercept, okay, which means your vertex has to be on the x-axis. So that's it there. Discriminant is 0, one real number solution. Okay, type, it's real. How many? 1. Number and type of solution. And let's go third one. X squared minus 6x plus a equals 0. A, 1, B, -6, C, 8. Template for your discriminant. Sub in B, A, C. Arithmetic, -6 times -6, positive 36. 4 times 1 times 8, minus 32, 4. The discriminant for this equation is 4. 4 is greater than 0. And if your discriminant is positive, that means you're going to have 2. How many? 2 type real number solutions. Okay, it means you have 2 graphically x-intercepts. Okay, so if I graph this, this quadratic opens up. So it's going to look something like this. Okay, I don't know what the solutions are, whether one's negative, one's positive. Maybe the graph looks like this and both are positive. Maybe both are negative. But I know it's something like that graphically. I know there's 2 x-intercepts, 2 real solutions. There's your discriminant. So that's all there is to that. Okay. Just the big thing here, make sure everything's on one side equal to 0. It wouldn't matter if I moved everything to the other side. You get the same discriminant. Make sure use this little template, plug in, parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses, parentheses. Do your arithmetic correctly. Notice your discriminant is 4. It is not the square root of 4. There's no square root involved in the discriminant. Okay, the discriminant is, again, going back to that first page, it's just the stuff underneath your radical, your square root symbol. Okay, that's it. So don't include the square root. Look this over. Okay, take notes on it, understand what's going on. If you have any questions, please let me know.